All right, get ready because today we're heading into the Arabian Desert to meet the Arabian sand gazelle.
Sounds good.
It's one of the most extreme environments on Earth.
It is.
But these gazelles are not just surviving out there, they're thriving.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking masters of water conservation, incredible speed, and they even have a special place in the culture of the region.
Right.
You ready to find out how they make the desert their home?
I am. It's a story of resilience.
Okay, so first things first, what does this desert dweller actually look like?
Well, picture this.
Okay.
A gazelle. And it's got a coat the color of, like, sun-bleached sand.
Oh, wow.
So they blend right into those dunes.
So they've got that camouflage down, Pat.
Yeah.
But what about their eyes?
Oh, the eyes.
I've heard there's something special.
Absolutely. They're large and dark.
Okay.
And they give the gazelle incredible vision, which, of course, is super important when you're trying to spot food and danger.
Especially in a landscape like that just seems to go on forever.
Yeah, it's like their eyes hold the secrets of the desert or something.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
And what about those horns? Are they just for show?
Not at all.
Okay.
And this is where it gets interesting.
All right.
Male gazelles,
Okay.
they have much longer, more curved horns
Than the females.
than the females.
Why is that?
It's a good question.
Seems like those big horns would make them easier to spot for predators.
Well, you've just hit upon something called sexual dimorphism,
Oh, okay.
which basically means
Yeah.
males and females of the same species can have these different physical traits.
Okay, so like lions, the males have those big manes.
Yeah.
The females don't.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm with you.
So those horns on the males, they're not just for looks.
So they're probably for, like, attracting mates.
Right.
Or competing with other males?
Exactly. It's all part of their survival
Okay.
and their social structure out in that challenging environment.
Okay, so now let's zoom out and talk about their home turf,
Okay.
the Arabian Desert. Paint me a picture. What's it like out there?
All right, so imagine this.
Okay.
You've got this relentless sun.
Okay.
Temperatures can reach like 50 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
And rainfall, well, it's so rare, it's practically a celebration when it happens.
Wow, that sounds pretty intense.
It is.
No wonder these gazelles are such masters of survival.
Right.
So where exactly do they hang out in this vast desert?
So they've kind of carved out this niche in the open plains, sand
Wow.
dunes,
All right.
and gravelly areas.
Okay.
They often try to venture into more remote spots to avoid too much competition for resources.
Right, very smart.
Yeah.
And speaking of resources, how do they find enough to eat and drink in a landscape like that?
Well, when it comes to their diet, they're herbivores.
Okay.
So they browse on whatever the desert offers up.
Okay.
Plants, shrubs, grasses, leaves.
Okay.
They're incredibly adaptable.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
But, I mean, water must be, like, incredibly scarce.
It is.
How do they survive without, like, regular trips to a watering hole?
This is where it gets fascinating.
Okay.
They get most of their water, get this, from their food.
Wait, seriously, from their food?
Yeah.
That's amazing. How is that possible?
So the plants that they're eating, they actually retain a certain amount of moisture,
Oh.
especially in those cooler hours of the day.
Right.
And the gazelle's physiology is just finely tuned to extract every last drop.
Wow. That's incredible. It's like they've hacked the system of desert survival.
Pretty much.
I'm starting to see why they're so successful in such a challenging environment.
Absolutely. And we haven't even gotten to their social behavior yet.
Or how they avoid becoming a predator's lunch.
Yeah, all that.
You've definitely got me intrigued, but I think we need to save those stories for part 2 of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
All right. Okay, so we're back and ready to learn more about the Arabian sand gazelle.
Sounds good.
Last time, you were about to tell us how they managed to stay safe in a desert full of all these predators.
Yeah, it's really a game of survival out there.
It is.
A constant battle between predator and prey.
So what are the main threats these gazelles face?
Well, let's start with the predators.
Okay.
You've got the Arabian wolf.
Oh, yeah, they're pretty scary.
They are?
And they're perfectly adapted for that desert environment.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what else?
You've got feral dogs.
Oh, right. Yeah, those are a problem everywhere.
Yeah, they're opportunistic scavengers.
Uh,
They can be dangerous, especially for young or vulnerable gazelles.
right, yeah.
And then you can't forget about the birds of prey,
Oh, of course.
soaring high above,
Yeah.
just looking for their next meal.
Yeah, it's like there are dangers lurking everywhere for these gazelles.
That's right.
It seems like they've got their work cut out for them.
Yeah,
But you mentioned they have some tricks up their sleeve
they do.
to avoid all these predators.
Well, their speed is their primary weapon.
Right.
Remember how we talked about They can reach speeds of up to 60 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, 60 kilometers an hour.
That's fast.
That's super fast, but how do they use that speed in a chase?
So imagine this.
Okay.
A gazelle's grazing peacefully,
Right.
completely unaware that a hungry Arabian wolf has spotted it.
Okay.
And that wolf, it starts to approach, low to the ground, trying to use the terrain to stay hidden.
Okay.
But luckily, the gazelle, it catches a glimpse of movement.
Oh, good.
Just a flash.
Okay.
But it's enough.
Alarm bells go off.
Alarm bells go off.
And those survival instincts kick in.
That's right.
Okay, so they spot the danger.
Mm-hmm.
What happens next?
Well, they don't just run in a straight line.
Okay, yeah. That would make them an easy target.
Exactly.
So what do?
They zigzag
Okay.
across the open ground.
To make it harder for the predator to guess where they're going.
Exactly.
I can picture it now.
Yeah.
This blur of sandy brown fur just darting across the dunes.
That's right. And it's not just about speed.
So it's about endurance, too.
It's about endurance. They can maintain that fast pace for way longer than a predator. Often, the predator just gives up from exhaustion.
So they've literally evolved to outrun danger.
They have.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
But what if the predator manages to catch up?
Well, sometimes they can use the terrain to their advantage,
Okay, well.
leaping over obstacles, darting through tight spots,
Right.
maybe places that are too small for the predator.
Okay.
But yeah, their best bet is always to outrun the threat.
It's like they use their environment as a weapon.
Yeah, and it really highlights that balance that exists in the desert
Right. Between predator and prey.
between predator and prey.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, the predators, they keep those prey populations in check.
Right. And the prey have these incredible adaptations to survive.
Exactly.
So it's like this constant arms race.
Yeah, it is. But as we said earlier,
Yeah.
that balance is being thrown off
By humans.
by human activities.
And now the Arabian sand gazelle is facing these new challenges that they didn't evolve to deal with.
Yeah, and it's leading to that vulnerable conservation status.
Right, which is so sad to think about
It is.
because these gazelles are so amazing.
They are.
And they're facing habitat loss,
Mm,
overgrazing by livestock,
yeah,
and poaching.
unfortunately.
So it's not just about outrunning wolves now.
Right.
It's about navigating all these human impacts.
Exactly.
So what can we do to ensure their survival?
Well, that's the big question.
It is.
Luckily, there are a number of conservation efforts already underway.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
And supporting those efforts is a good place to start.
absolutely.
But before we jump into the world of gazelle conservation,
Okay.
I want to know a little more about something else we touched on earlier.
Yeah,
You mentioned that they hold a special place in the culture of the region.
I did.
Can you tell me more about that?
Oh, yeah. The Arabian sand gazelle is much more than just an animal.
Okay.
It's a symbol that's really woven into the cultural fabric of the Arabian Peninsula.
What kind of symbol?
Well, for centuries, they've been a symbol of grace, beauty, and resilience. You know, qualities that are so important in that harsh desert environment.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
Their ability to survive out there must be inspiring to people.
It is.
So their image appears in traditional art,
Mm-hmm.
poetry, folklore.
Right. It shows just how important they are to the region's heritage.
So they're not just part of the ecosystem.
Yeah.
They're part of the culture.
Right.
The stories, like you said, the identity of the people who live there.
Exactly. And that connection just makes their conservation even more important.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not just about protecting a species.
It's about protecting a culture.
It's about preserving a part of cultural heritage.
That's beautifully put. I'm starting to understand why this gazelle is so much more than just an animal.
Yeah, their story goes beyond just biology.
Right.
It touches upon those deep connections that humans have with the natural world.
Okay, so we've talked about their incredible adaptations, their role in the desert ecosystem,
Mm.
the threats they face, and now this cultural significance.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to hear about these conservation efforts.
All right, well, let's shift our focus to the world of gazelle conservation then.
So we're talking gazelle conservation.
Yeah.
What are people doing to protect these vulnerable creatures?
Well, a lot of people are realizing just how much danger the Arabian sand gazelle is in.
Yeah.
And a number of conservation initiatives are now underway to help.
Okay, that's good news.
It is.
What are some of the most effective strategies?
Well, one of the most important things is setting up protected areas,
Okay.
like national parks, wildlife reserves.
It's like giving them safe havens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Places where they can thrive without human interference.
Yeah.
And inside those protected areas,
Yeah.
conservationists can monitor the gazelle populations,
Okay.
study their behavior, and take steps to make their habitat even better.
So it's not just about setting aside land.
Right.
It's about actively managing it
It is.
to meet the gazelle's needs.
Exactly.
Okay, are there any other key strategies?
Another important effort is captive breeding programs.
Oh yeah, I've heard about these.
Yeah.
They breed gazelles in controlled environments.
Yeah, to help increase their numbers
Right.
and their genetic diversity.
And then they release them back into the wild.
Exactly.
When conditions are right
Right.
and there's enough suitable habitat.
Yeah.
It's like giving them a second chance.
It is.
But I imagine there are some challenges with all of this.
Definitely.
Protecting a species across such vast landscapes
Yeah.
can't be easy.
It's not. It's a constant battle.
What are some of the biggest hurdles?
Well, one is that human-wildlife conflict.
Right.
The gazelles need resources.
Yeah, food, water,
Right.
and so do the local communities.
Exactly.
So finding a balance is crucial,
It is.
making sure the gazelles are protected,
Yeah.
but also that people's livelihoods aren't negatively impacted.
Right. We need to find solutions that work for everyone.
For both people and wildlife.
Exactly.
Okay, what about other challenges?
The illegal wildlife trade is a huge problem.
Oh, right, yeah.
Poaching for gazelle horns for their meat. It's a constant threat.
And to tackle something like that, it's going to take international cooperation
It will.
to stop those trafficking networks.
Yeah, it's a global problem.
It sounds like a lot of work.
It is, but there is growing momentum behind gazelle conservation.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, governments are getting involved, conservation organizations, researchers,
Okay.
local communities, everyone's working together.
Okay, well, that's really inspiring to hear
It is.
that there's all this collaboration happening.
Yeah.
But for our listeners, what can they do to help?
Even small actions can make a difference.
Okay.
Supporting those organizations,
Yeah.
working on the ground,
Okay.
donations, volunteering,
Yeah.
even just spreading awareness,
Right.
sharing this deep dive
Yeah.
with friends and family.
That could definitely help.
The more people who understand how important biodiversity is,
Yeah.
the better.
And the threats that animals like the Arabian sand gazelles are facing?
Right. It's all about raising awareness and inspiring action.
Exactly.
Maybe some of our listeners will even be inspired to go visit the region.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
See the gazelles in their natural habitat?
Responsible ecotourism can really help.
Okay.
It provides economic incentives for those local communities
Okay,
to protect the gazelles
Right.
and their habitat.
So it's a win-win for everyone.
It is.
Well, this deep dive has been so insightful.
I'm glad you think so.
I feel like I've learned so much about the Arabian sand gazelle,
Good.
and I'm sure our listeners have too.
I hope so.
Their adaptations, their cultural significance, the challenges they face.
Their story really is a powerful reminder
It is.
that even in the harshest environments, life finds a way.
It does.
But their future depends on us.
It does.
It depends on our commitment to protecting them.
Absolutely.
We've covered a lot of ground today. But if I could leave our listeners with one thought,
Yeah.
it would be this. The Arabian sand gazelle's story is not unique.
Right.
There are so many other species around the world
Yeah.
facing these same threats.
Yeah, you're right.
So how can we take what we've learned today
Yeah.
and use it to become better stewards of the entire planet?
That's a powerful question.
It is.
It really makes you think
Yeah.
about our role in preserving the diversity of life on Earth.
Right. And maybe the lessons we've learned from the Arabian sand gazelle.
About their resilience, their adaptability,
Yeah.
their connection to the environment.
Right.
Maybe those lessons can guide us towards a more sustainable future.
For all.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
And a huge thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those curious minds engaged.